Hey guys, Drifter here. Welcome to Advanced Warfare in Depth. In today's episode, we're going to be reviewing the Elite ASM1 Strider. This is truly an elite among elites, a very dangerous, very deadly, over-the-top weapon. Got a lot of good things about it, but the gameplay here is not mine. As much as I want it, unfortunately, I do not have this weapon, but Quentin, better known as Baruka, supplied the gameplay for me, and he wanted his shout-out on Twitter, so go check him out at Quentin23. He's a friend of mine, and as in I've actually met him in person several times. Cool guy, and I'm glad he sent me this gameplay. But let's talk about the stats of the Strider and what makes it so ridiculously over the top and potentially overpowered level of good. First of all, the minimum damage is increased from 18 to 20. Doesn't look like a whole lot. It's only 2 points of damage. However, that changes it from being a 6-shot kill at long ranges to a 5-shot kill at long ranges, and it changes the overall shot to kill profile of the ASM1, with the normal one having 3 shots to kill and then it drops off to 5. There's actually no 4-shot to kill for the ASM1. It's either 3 or 5 and then 6, whereas the Strider is just 3, 5, and 5. So it's just kind of like stripping out that long range and throwing it away. So the Strider, as is, has the same long range performance as a normal ASM1 does at medium range, and that makes it inherently very, very strong because nobody likes getting 6 shots to kill on their submachine guns. However, it has another really awesome buff going on with it, and that's that it has a flat 15% range buff to all ranges in its little profile. That is the exact same range buff as the ASM1 Magnitude, which we all often complain about. That's the marksman version of the ASM1 that has a range increase. A lot of people run this with advanced rifling. It's considered a god gun. It's considered the best one because it has no drawbacks. It's the one that the quote sweaty tryhards use all the time, and this gun has the exact same range buff along with a damage buff, and that makes it extremely dangerous. That's going to drastically cut your time to kill over range and just in general with those less shots to kill. Very, very huge buff to range and damage here. I want to say that again and again and again to emphasize that this gun is a damage pump. However, it also comes with a very significant nerf. It has 30% more recoil and its maximum kick deflection is increased. So your shot is going to kick 30% more every single time, and the guns in this game are programmed kind of funny. There's only like so much they'll kick up before they kind of hit a ceiling and stop, and you'll see this in just a second. And that maximum ceiling, that maximum amount of kick has also been increased, and this is a really, really huge nerf. So you get this really huge buff and you get this really huge nerf, and I can guarantee you that you will feel it on the ASM1 Strider. Now, I was able to pick up this gun and play with it a few times in different matches. I tested it out in private match on some, target dummies and on Quentin and stuff like that, and you'll definitely feel the lack of recoil. That's one of the great things that the ASM1 had going for it, was it had high damage and low or easily controllable recoil. This takes away the low or easily controllable recoil, but instead of listening to me blab about it, how about I show you exactly how much it kicks? This is the normal ASM1. I'm doing the very normal standard wall test that I've done since since the game came out. This is just the best wall that I found for testing. You can see the recoil there. It's pretty much linear, straight up and down. This is the Strider, and you can see that maximum ceiling is a lot higher, and it kicked up there way, way faster. Quentin here decides he wants to show me some recoil, so I need to shoot him for messing up my wall. Gonna take his ammo real quick right there, making a mess on the wall, but I'm gonna walk over here and you can see it side by side. He's shooting the Strider too, and you can see it's kind of messy. We're gonna do the regular ASM1 again. This time it held its position very well down there. There is a randomness to recoil, but you can see that's a very accurate gun, and the Strider is of course going to kick way up to the ceiling. I didn't even bother emptying the whole magazine because I'm going to be shooting the glass the entire time. That's a huge nerf to recoil. You're definitely going to feel it. It can be very frustrating, but despite how big of a nerf it is, despite how much it kicks, I still feel that this is the best ASM1 variant if you can handle that recoil. PC players are probably going to have an easy time with this. High skill players are going to have an easy time with this. Experienced players that are just good at handling recoil, you're really going to love the ASM1 Strider because you get a huge range buff and a huge damage buff. It's still a god gun for hip fire, close quarters combat, all that sort of stuff. Very, very good because there's no attachment restrictions, nothing wrong with the hip fire, nothing goofy about the sprint in or out times, just the damage and range and the recoil have all been changed. However, I do feel that you absolutely must run it with 2 attachments. Normally I say it's best with or it's good with. This time I'm going to say required. and you absolutely have to have a foregrip. The recoil is really bad, it's really nasty, that's the biggest downside of it. Run a foregrip, it'll decrease that somewhat. It will not return it to being like the normal ASM1, but it will help. It'll make it very nice. Also, run advanced rifling. You have 15% range. If you run advanced rifling, you get another 20% range, and those stack, and you get a really huge range buff, same as the magnitude, the same one you complain about all the time. So you'll have a massive range buff, massive damage buff, and the foregrip will help reduce the amount of ridiculous recoil that you get and make it very controllable. And this is a god tier weapon. If it's not the best weapon in the game, it's up there. It's right up there with the H-Bar Insanity and the Obsidian Steed and all that. Very, very dangerous. Do not underestimate the ASM1 Strider. Well guys, that's all for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something useful. If you did, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. You can also check out the previous episode, which is on the NA45 Ravager, and the next episode, whenever it's live, will be on the XMG Bacon and Eggs. Drifter out.